It's a snow day out here. It's a snow day, a blizzard, comfortable. Let me get comfortable. Thank you for joining me. Lord, don't mind me. All right, thank you for joining me. Look at all the stuff I could do. I'm all flexible. On Instagram and on YouTube, which is why I'm looking up and down. But welcome, Julie, your embodied healing coach, helping women who are burnt out and suffering from chronic pain heal their trauma so they can go back to the life that they remember. And life could be good, joyful, and soft again. We're here today. And again, I wrote a bunch of notes, so I want to make sure I cover everything, but I wanted to talk today about what happened the second that I stopped trying to fix my chronic pain and instead I became curious about it. If y'all know me personally, y'all know that I'm a fixer. We're going to get to the bottom of it. You close the door, we're going to jump through the window. You deadbolt the door, the wall, whatever. We're going to find a way in. I am that one who will always find a way to do whatever needs to get done. That's just who I am. I'm built that way. I can't help it. I get it from my mother. It's a gift and a curse. It's a gift because it makes you resilient. Thank you for joining, guys. It's a gift because it makes you resilient, but it's a curse because you don't know how to sit your ass down. You don't know how to stop doing the most. You don't know when to just surrender. I am learning though. I am learning. So, there's a lot to cover tonight. I don't want to take too much of your time. Well, we are snowed in, so I guess we got time. But I've been talking a lot about my chronic pain journey. I even did a video on YouTube if you want to go ahead and catch that. The channel is the same as my handle here on Instagram, Julie A. Jameson. But I wanted to talk about again how exactly like what happened the second that I stopped trying to fix my chronic pain, but instead I became curious about it. I actually did the opposite of what I always do. And I said this before in a previous video that I always feel like the universe gives you exactly what you need, not what you want. And what we need is never what we want. And what we want is never what we actually need. Listen, when I was going through the thick of it with my chronic pain, because I'm such a fixer and because I'm one of those people who I always need to know what's happening. I always need to be in control. I'm learning to release that. I've gotten so much better with just surrendering. But when I was in the thick of it, I remember going down the rabbit hole of YouTube, Google, Reddit, everything and anything I could find on chronic pain, on why I was having so much pain in my body, what was going on with my body, what was happening to me, because I thought that it was all in my head and I thought I was going nuts because every time I would go to the doctor, they would tell me that nothing was wrong with me, that the tests were fine. I even had a doctor literally tell me to my face that it was all in my head, and basically that was crazy. So when you're in that sort of situation, sometimes you do feel like you're going crazy because you see all the doctors and you're expecting some sort of a diagnosis. You're expecting something from them because they're the experts, and you get disappointed at every freaking visit because at every visit they tell you that your labs are fine, your tests are normal, they don't see anything. Are you sure that's what you're feeling? On a scale from 1 to 10, you're telling me your pain is a 9. Are you sure you don't look like you're in pain? And because we're so conditioned to seek answers from doctors, we are relentless. We don't stop until we hear something. Um, and for me, I felt like getting a diagnosis would give me some sort of peace and like I knew what the hell was happening to me. And then if I knew what was, I remember crying to my sister and to my husband. I was like, if I knew what was wrong with me, then I would feel like everything would be okay. The idea of not knowing what is going on is just gut wrenching, and just it's just like you feel like you're stuck in this black hole, this vortex of like the unknown, and you have no control, and you're just spinning and spiraling, and nothing can be done to stop it. And it just feels like a true loss of control. And for someone who is a control freak, that is not good at all. So you continue trying to get the diagnosis because you think that that's the right thing to do. You're thinking like, if I know what's going on, then I know how to fix it. If I know what the medical issue is, then there has to be a cure. There has to be a medication I could take. There has to be something that can get me out of this misery. And so you continue to see doctors. They prescribe the medications, which, by the way, are always long term. They're never like, oh, take this here for a week and then you won't have any more pain. No, it's like literally a brand new lifestyle of like, forget about the life you lived before. That's gone. Forget about who you used to be. She's no longer here. Moving forward, this is your new life of just anticipating this relentless pain to just pop up at the worst time. You're canceling plans, or you're leaving early, or you're trying to plan around the next freaking episode of pain, right? And you're just frustrated. You're just like, what the hell? Like, this can't be my life now. Like, how did I get here? Like, and then you start getting cortisone injections, which, may help, may not help. But again, you have to keep going back to get them because they only last for a few months. It's not like you can't find a one and done solution. It's frustrating. And you're like, this is not who I am. This is not who I am. Like, what is happening? I feel like I'm trapped in a body that's not mine. Like, my body is just failing on me. And sometimes you succumb to surgery. Sometimes you're just like, you know what? If surgery is going to take away the pain, if surgery is going to stop this from happening, then give me the surgery. And usually I'm that person who I don't like, well, not typically. I'm someone who does not like doctors. I don't like hospitals. I don't know. I don't like the smell. I don't like the ambiance of them. I don't like the lack of bedside manners from these. Like, I just am somebody who I prefer not to go to see a doctor unless I absolutely have to. So if you're gonna get me to agree to do a surgery, like, that's big because I'm just somebody who I'd rather not. But here we are, two surgeries later. So I wanted to talk about why none of that has been working, why it didn't work for me, why it was just a temporary relief. It wasn't something permanent. It was something that I was gonna continue being dependent on, and that's not something that I wanted because I'm somebody who doesn't like to take medicine besides my vitamins, and to me that's enough. Like, I'm not a pill popper, so I'm just like, and I don't like needles, so I was having a time. Um, the thing that I came to understand is that you don't heal pain by fighting it. Coming from somebody who is a fighter, somebody who doesn't give up, somebody who will go toe to toe, like, how we gonna get through this? We're gonna figure it out somehow, some way. We're gonna get it done. So for me to come to terms with, you cannot heal pain by fighting it. You have to heal it by listening to it. You have to heal it by quieting. You have to heal it by stopping enough to listen to it so that it could teach you a lesson, so you could grasp the lesson. Because if you're too busy fighting it, it's going to go over your head. And you're going to be so focused on ending the pain that you are missing the entire lesson. Because for people like me who have exhausted medical options and are like literally beginning to wonder if unresolved emotions and trauma is what is contributing to the chronic pain, because you're like, I've tried everything that the medical system has to offer and it's not working. So something else, something bigger has to be happening here. And for somebody who at the time was already on her spiritual journey for years, I like my mind always goes to that of like, what is the lesson here? But what is the spiritual lesson here? And that took me down a big rabbit hole of like, how does trauma show up in the body? And to my discovery, not that I discovered this because I didn't, but to my own discovery, like literally like reading all the books, like all the books, and going down the rabbit hole. Because if you know me, you know that I'm a nerd. I've always been a nerd since I've been a little kid. I'm someone who doesn't enjoy school, but I'm really good at school. I've always had straight A's, honor roll, whatever. I'm just not somebody who enjoys school. I don't have the attention span for it. But when I find something that grabs my attention, oh, we're going to learn everything about it. Oh, yes, we are. We're going to get a PhD. Oh, yes, we are. And when I tell you I went down the rabbit hole, I went down the rabbit hole, and what I found was fascinating. Simply fascinating. That the healthcare system doesn't want you to know. Because listen, through my research, and this is as of 2023, I was running some Googles, and I was like, 63 million people suffer from chronic pain in America. That's just America. And I'm sure that number is way higher because that was 3 years ago. 63 million people in America suffer with chronic pain. Migraines, neck pain, back pain, sciatica, gut issues, gallbladder issues, IBS, fibroids. What is that? Endometriosis, nerve pain. Like hand pain, neuropathy, different symptoms like chronic fatigue, different symptoms from multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia, lupus, like all these autoimmune issues and side effects. 63 million people suffer from chronic pain in America. And the crazy thing is that when they cannot diagnose you with anything. Because when I tell you I checked all the boxes for multiple sclerosis, the only thing that did not check out was my MRI. Like I thought I had multiple sclerosis and I thought I had fibromyalgia. But the test couldn't confirm it. Yet I had all the symptoms, which is why I thought I was going crazy. But what a lot of the Western medicine, like when they can't find what's wrong with you, and even if they do diagnose you with something, a lot of times, like women are the ones who are diagnosed with chronic pain, mostly women. And it's because we take a lot of the burden of raising families, and we just have a lot on our plate mentally, physically, emotionally, raising the kids, the career, the running back and forth, the cognitive overload on our brains. Like we are just burning out and running ragged. And times are not what they used to be from years ago, where it was more community based and it took a village to raise kids. Nowadays, And back then, women didn't work, where now women are working, they're raising families. You need two people, you need two incomes in a household just to even survive. And sometimes that's not even enough with the way the economy is right now. And with all the running around, there is really no time to rest. There's no time to take it easy. There's no time to just decompress. There is no time because you're running around trying to live life. And after a while, that is going to take a toll on you because our bodies were not created for that type of stress long term. Stress is going to happen because life is life. But long term stress leads to chronic pain and chronic illness. It's why so many of us have health that is deteriorating because of stress that our bodies are undergoing, of the lack of sleep, of the the high levels of cortisol and adrenaline, right? Just to survive. It's a lot that it takes on the body. And so when they can't come up with a diagnosis for you, or even if they have come up with a diagnosis for you, you're like, how the hell did this even happen? This doesn't run in my family. Like, there's so many cases of women, you know, I know some personally who unfortunately were diagnosed with breast cancer with no family history of breast cancer. And one of the things that I know about the women that, at least in my inner circle, who have been diagnosed, a lot of like the common denominator in that is high levels of stress. And so for me, that was a very interesting find of like, oh my God, like, so trauma does really live in the body, because I used to hear people say that like the body keeps the score, and yes, and unresolved trauma, and but it's so true because it's like, and it's not just our trauma, it's like trauma from past generations as well that gets stuck in the body. And for my case, that was something that was happening to me. And I couldn't understand why that was happening to me until finally somebody, one of my friends who's a healer, a spiritual healer, Reiki practitioner, was like, girl, you holding a lot of trauma, and a lot of that is not even yours. It's from the women in your lineage. And I'm like, of course. Stretch a little bit. But like, I found it so interesting that trauma, although it's not something you can physically see, emotionally, it does a lot to the body. It does a lot to our brains. And the you cannot separate the brain from the digestive system from your immune system. It's all connected. It's all connected. So when we're going through it mentally, it affects our digestive system. It affects our immune system. It brings on inflammation. It brings on all these things to our bodies. Like when I went and got my MRI for my neck and my back, the doctor told me, he's like, the inflammation you have on your neck is like so bad. He's like, no wonder you're in so much pain. And then when you start thinking about the different parts of the body that get affected and why, like for me, it was my shoulders, my neck, my hands, and then I was having nerve pain coming down my legs and shooting pain. And when you start to do research on what these specific parts of the body mean, like the shoulders is having the weight of the world on your shoulders. You know, there's different meanings, like your knees not being able to move forward in life, like feeling stuck. You could run your own Googles. I'm not going to get into that too much, but the thing that you should be doing instead, or the thing of instead of trying to fix the chronic pain, which I know sometimes it can be very easy to get fixated on why is this happening? Why is this happening? What is it? What is it? What is it? Because I was there, is stopping that and putting all your focus instead on getting curious as to why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Let me take these off because my daughter just put on the iPad and now they're they moved over there. Okay. Let me know if you could hear me in the comments. I'm gonna keep going thinking that you can. But um so the opposite of finding is stopping and get curious because again, for people who've exhausted the medical options, the people who the medical industry just cannot come up with a reason why you're having all this chronic pain. Pain is there, it's not all in your head, but they can't seem to find anything wrong with you. And even if they have a diagnosis, there's no way for them to help you with the symptoms, to help end the symptoms without it being some sort of long-term issue that you have to deal with where you're taking medication for forever or you're getting cortisone shots for forever or maybe you need multiple surgeries and even then the pain is still not going to go away. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to live that. But you start to wonder if it's unresolved emotional stress or trauma that is contributing to your chronic pain. And that makes a lot of sense because whenever you're undergoing high levels of stress, like long-term stress, which again, the body is not equipped to be in flight or fight mode for long periods of time, that's only when there's a perceived threat. But daily life should not be a perceived threat. Daily life should not be highly stressful. But again, we live in a very different society now in modern times where a lot of people are just stressed the hell out. Whether it's financial stress, familial stress, employment stress, health stress, relationship stress, like the list goes on and on and on. We are all dealing with a lot. And a lot of us aren't emotionally regulated enough to even deal with those kind of things. And so the stress starts to pile up. And when the stress starts to pile up in our bodies, it starts to affect our immune system, our mental health, and even our physical bodies whenever that trauma and that emotional stress does not leave the body, does not escape the body, it gets trapped in the body, it starts to manifest as pain. Because what is happening is your body is trying to talk to you and is trying to get your attention. Meanwhile, you are running around trying to live life and trying to life. This is the way that the body communicates to you to let you know that something is wrong and to let you know that you need to tend to it. And so it starts to hit you with a migraine, or it starts to hit you with shoulder pain, or it starts to throw nerve pain at you, or maybe your back starts to hurt, or nothing you do is going to stop it, or you get immense debilitating fatigue where you cannot stay awake. No matter how many hours you sleep, you are exhausted when you wake up. And these are little, no, not little, but these are symptoms that when they happen, they are so impactful that they have to get your attention because you're like, what is this? It's like you literally have to stop everything that you're doing to figure out what the hell is going on. And then when you go to the doctors, this whole cycle starts where the doctor takes tests, he does MRIs, he does the CAT scans, he does the x-rays, he does the blood work, and they can't find nothing. And even if you do find a diagnosis, like I said before, you get thrown hypertension pills or you get thrown painkillers or you get and it's like, I don't want to live like this. Like this can't be my life. And so if you're somebody who's going through chronic pain, I want you to really get curious about it. Get curious as to can your chronic pain be emotional trauma or stress? Like, can it be that? And I also want you to start thinking about the times when you get flare-ups of pain or your symptoms start to really exaggerate. exasperate, I can never say that word, but where they tend to heighten, let's say that. What is happening in your life when that is going on? And a lot of times you're going through a stressful time. So again, it's that stress manifesting in the body of it's manifesting in the body because it's trying to get your attention so you can stop and you can tend to it and you can do what you need to do to actually excavate those stored emotions in your body, let them go so that the pain can resolve. Because what is happening in your body is basically like a cup here, and it's getting filled with water. And water is your stress and the emotions, all the bottled up emotions and things that you haven't dealt with, your trauma. It just keeps getting poured in here, poured in here, poured in here. After a while, it's going to overflow. And the overflow really is the pain trying to get your attention. And the way to get rid of that pain is by releasing those stored emotions, giving this cup a break, like letting some of that go so that the cup can function again. The cup, you can actually close the lid and you could sip from the cup. But if it's overflowing, you can't put the lid on it, right? So hopefully that visual helps. But that's basically what is happening to your body. The body is very, very wise, and the body is always communicating to you through symptoms, through your intuition, through so many different ways. But because we're always so busy, a lot of times, like we'll make a mental note of the symptom, but we'll keep it pushing because it's not that bad. And we could still do what we need to do while we're having the symptom. But when it becomes too much and it becomes unbearable to the point where the pain is so bad, you have to stop and attend to it and figure out what the hell is happening. You're like, this hurts so bad that I have to go to see a doctor because something's not right. This is not who I am. This is not the life that I've lived. And so it gets so bad that it catches your attention where you have no choice but to tend to it. So I want you to really get curious about your chronic pain. Really start to think if perhaps the reason why you're getting this chronic pain is because of unresolved trauma and stored emotions and stress that you have in your body. And if you want to know one way on how to release those stored emotions and stress from your body, then watch the live I did on Friday where I give you one thing that you can do to help relieve that so that the pain can start to subside. And if you want more information for a deeper dive, then you can hit the link in my bio for the Return to Self program where enrollment is open now. And you can go ahead and click the link in that bio and schedule a next step call with me. But in that program, we do the things that are going to end your chronic pain. Like I'm chronic pain free for months now. Where I was when I was having my bouts of chronic pain, it was like an all day thing. Like I couldn't leave my house. It was bad. I couldn't go to events. I was canceling things because the chronic pain was so bad. The migraines was so bad. The nerve pain was so bad. The neck pain, the arm pain, the shoulder pain, like the shooting pain, like feeling like you're getting electrocuted, like you're being tortured, like not even exaggerating. And for somebody who has a high tolerance for pain, to feel all of that and it feel too much, it was excruciating. So I wanted to leave you with, instead of trying to fix the chronic pain and trying to come up with what is happening to me, what is the diagnosis, let me go see another doctor. Instead, I want you to get curious about your chronic pain, and I want you to have step outside of the box and have a different sort of viewpoint. Look at it from a different lens of like This is happening to me for a reason. It's not happening to me, it's happening for me. Like, this chronic pain is happening for me. And I already spoke about how chronic pain can be wisdom, it can be a gift. And it's not necessarily a curse, even though when you're in it and you're feeling all the debilitating feels, it can feel like a life sentence. It can. But when you're on the other side of it and you're no longer feeling the excruciating pain because you've tended to your body and you've really honored your body and you've been able to release a lot of the stored trauma in your body and the stress that has accumulated over the years, and all of a sudden the pain starts to subside and you're like, oh my God, it's working. I feel like I am getting the life back that I remember. I feel like I'm coming back to myself. I feel like I'm returning to myself again. I feel like my old self again. Like, I don't have to schedule around my flare-ups. Like, I'm not in bed all day because I'm just so fatigued. I don't feel like I'm trapped in an 80-year-old person's body, yet I'm not, like, I'm in my 30s or 40s. Like, you know? So I want you to get curious about your chronic pain. I want you to dive deep. I want you to see how, or to just have some sort of an aha moment of like, what would it mean? What would it mean if I were to look at it through a different lens of perhaps the medical field is not working because this is unresolved trauma, or this is chronic stress, or I've just been so stressed and so overwhelmed and so burnt out that my body's taking a hit. And what if I did what I needed to do to heal that trauma, to release those stored emotions that I've been walking around with for years? What would life look like if I did that instead and focused all my energy on that? Could that be what I need to do to end this chronic pain, to end the migraines and the nerve pain and the muscular pain and the gut issues and the fibroid pain and the IBS pain and the gallbladder stones, the kidney stones, like the long COVID symptoms, like all of it? Could this be what I need to do? What would happen if I were to take my focus off of the medical field and instead focus in a holistic way to get rid of this chronic pain? So that's what I want to leave you with today. Again, if you have more questions, shoot me a DM, drop a comment, or just click the link in my bio to schedule a next step call for the Return to Self program, where we dive in deep on how to heal your trauma so that you can heal your chronic pain and live the life that you remember before all hell broke loose. All right, so let me see. I don't see any comments there. I don't see any comments here. But again, if you have any comments, DM me, drop something in here, and I will definitely get back to you. So I will see you in the next one. I'm going to be going live Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. So I cannot wait to see you in that live, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, bye now.